Welcome everyone to today's live stream, episode 20 of our Starfield gameplay series. I'm Commander Jorval, and I want to thank you for coming along on our journey today. So, on some admin notes, first of all, of course I want to apologize. I started 30 minutes late this evening. Work got a hold of me, and we've got a lot of changes going on. With designs and that sort of stuff here where I work, so got caught up in dealing with some of that. So I got home as quick as I could, and like I say again, I apologize, but hopefully we'll be able to pick up here and not finish too late for everybody. So on another admin note, I just want to say for everybody out there, at least here in the US right now, stay safe. This week has started some dangerous weather across the country as far as winter storms go, and then going through this weekend and next week, especially down here in the south where I'm at, things are going to get really dangerous as well. So everyone stay safe out there. Make sure you're being as safe as you can with the weather and not taking any chances. So I think that's going to end the admin notes. So on the recap, last week we had some fairly momentous things happen. We had our first encounter with the Hunter, the mysterious Starborn who launched an attack against the Lodge, and we chose to allow him to attack the Lodge as opposed to the Eye. And that resulted in Sarah dying. And she's no longer one of our companions. And then we had to have a running fight with the Hunter to maintain control of the artifacts that we had previously found. And then at the end of last live stream, we went out looking for some ships. We weren't lucky in getting ships that we wanted to spawn, and we went out looking for some other locations for where powers are going to be, as well as for where some items are going to be. And that's where we're going to start off today. Off stream, I've taken some time and gotten some landing areas scouted out where we have a ship that has landed that we want to go take a look at and see if we can steal it, because it will be a big upgrade in combat power over what we're currently piloting. I did off stream level up my piloting skills, so I'm now able to, I believe I did this. I will go check, but I'm almost positive I did. Level up my piloting skills so that we can now pilot level C or reactor class C ships. So let's jump in here and we will take a look at our skills real quick just to make sure we have everything ready, and then we'll go take a look at getting a new ship. We're going to need a combat upgrade because where we are at in the game, a Class A ship just isn't going to cut it anymore. And we are going to have to do an upgrade. And you can build a ship. Certainly usable for you to do. Okay, so I remember where we are there. Sorry, I didn't have time to go through all of my saves since I was trying to start the stream as quick as I can. So let me just check a couple of these streams here. Okay, this is fine. So we're going to start off with our ship today, but we want to make sure that we have this landing area available to us. We scouted out a deserted UC garrison, and we're going to use this to farm a legendary item. But the first thing that we want to do is zoom back out and I think it's here. Doesn't look like it is. I can tell by my save. So it is. It's Bore 3A is what we're looking for here. So when you're trying to find ships, you want to come out here to the higher level systems. This is going to give you the best chance to have those spawn. So Bore 3A is here. Okay. So... okay, I thought this landing site was a little different. Let me go take a quick look around here and just make sure it's not... okay, this is it instead. So, we have a landing area here that we explored. Now, as we demonstrated in the last live stream, to get a ship to spawn, all you need to do is just keep landing on the planet over and over. You can stand outside your ship, you can go to your map, you can select a new landing spot, land at it, and within a couple of seconds, if the ship doesn't land, then it's not going to. And sometimes those ships will land at nearby points of interest, and in that case, they're normally going to take off again. Sometimes you can steal them when they're there, but normally they're going to take off again, which we encountered in our last episode. Sometimes they are going to land and they are going to stay landed on the ground, and in that case you're going to get a new POI pop up on your map that says ship landing site. And in that case the ship is in place, it is not going anywhere, and okay. So it's not this one. I could have sworn it was. Again, I apologize, chat, for not being better prepared. I was rushing home this evening to get things ready. We'll try one of these, but I don't think it's any of these. I have the landing point explored, and it's saved, so it's not going anywhere. Doesn't look like it's this one as well. Let me check my saves again real quick. Okay, so it might be over in Hawking. So, Hawking 2, 1A, 4A. We'll go check those real quick, and that might be where it's at. So, Hawking 2. It is not this one, I don't think. So we'll check 4A here. And we'll check 6 real quick. Okay, so I don't think it's any of those. Let's check here real quick. I don't remember it being here, but we'll check. Once you get the ship to land, it will show up as a ship landing site on your POI. And once it does, then that ship is stuck in place, and it's going to release guards that are going to patrol around it. And once that's done, okay, this is it. You can see in our scanner we have a ship landing site over here, and if you get a POI that pops up after the ship lands, that means it's not related to like landing at this structure or landing at this structure over here or something. This is its own independent landing point. And those are the ones that you're looking for. So we're going to make our way over here. Now, when it was coming down, I looked to see what type of ship it was going to be. Now, I can tell by the outlines what ships I'm looking for and whether or not they are the higher end ships that I'm trying to get. In this case, I know it is one of the highest level ecliptic mercenary ships I can get. The upper range of these ships always has 3 different types. They're all relatively the same, they just have better stats. So I'm gonna hop up here, and when I get close, I'm gonna go hidden, and I'm going to see what type of ship this is. I know this is an Ecliptic Claymore. I just don't know whether it's a Claymore 1, 2, or 3. You're always hoping for 3. You don't find those very often on the ground. You find those much more often in space. So my guess is that this is either a 1 or a 2, but we will see. So now as we get closer here, you can see that we have some Ecliptic that are patrolling around the outside. We've got one here behind the landing gear. We've got this one moving out here. And you see that the loading ramp is over there on the other side. So we're going to make our way around. If you kill all of the enemies who are on the ground around the ship is going to close up and it's going to take off. So your goal here is not to kill them. Your goal is to sneak onto this ship and board it. Then once you've boarded it, you can either take off and fly it to somewhere else where it will become your home ship, or you can exit the ship after you're done and kill the remaining enemies after it. But you need to make sure you've claimed it first, because if you kill these enemies before you've claimed it, it's going to take off. So you can see we've got one that's sitting right next to the landing pad, so we might have to kill one of them at least. And you don't have to, as long as you leave one alive, you're fine. So just make sure that you don't kill all of them, and you'll be able to board the ship. So we're going to kind of make our way around here, out of sight of everybody, and try and sneak our way in here. And now once you get close to the ship, you can open up your scanner and you'll be able to see exactly what ship it is. So once you get close enough that the ship landing site POI disappears. So it's an Ecliptic Falcata. Okay, so this isn't a Claymore. So the Falcata is the second ship in the tier. And could have sworn that I had... So Hawking 1A, 6B, Hawking 1A. Okay, this might be one. This landing point is saved, but we're going to check this one first. So we know that that one there has a Falcata 3 in it, which is the second highest tier. The Falcata is just below the Claymore. So we have another ship site over here, and I think this might be the Claymore. I know I had a Claymore land, so we'll go check it. And again, this is me just being out of time. I apologize. Normally I would have scouted this all out beforehand, and yes, that is a Claymore. And written all this down beforehand so we wouldn't have to do this. So I did a lot of scouting off stream though to get one. This actually landed really early on in my scouting, so it didn't take a whole lot of time. Interesting. We just have a crate sitting out here in the middle of nowhere. Might as well take the stuff in it. Bethesda. Hey, you can even go to sleep out here. Got your own little sleeping bag out here in the middle of nowhere. Thanks, Bethesda. Appreciate it. Little rest stop. But as I was saying, I apologize. Normally I'm better prepared for this and I'd know exactly where I'm going. Today, like I say, I just ran out of some time. So with the Claymore, the entryway is in the back of the ship, facing forward, right in the middle. Okay. So there's some rather strange things happening with terrain generation out here. But you are still going to have the enemies here. And normally with the Claymore, there are 3 enemies and they are patrolling around the perimeter of the ship. They don't just stand in one place. So we've got 2 there that we can see. Let's kind of move up here a little bit more. So 1, 2. The third one should be up near the front. But you can get a gauge on their patrol patterns and find a way to sneak in around them. Okay, so there's 1. There's 2 right there. The third one's normally out in this direction somewhere, but it looks like their patrol patterns might be a little bit messed up here. So these guys are standing around and looking at the ship. Well, he might be patrolling. So we're going to take a second and just learn what their patterns are. Try and find the third one, because there's normally always a third one. And we're not yet close enough to know what type of ship it is. Okay, we don't really have to worry about getting spotted, especially if we're not moving. They're going to have to get really close to us. But yeah, you can see these are higher level enemies that we're dealing with. And this one's probably going to be an issue. Let's keep an eye on the Commandant here. So he's patrolling back and forth. Not a problem. Hey, Mixed Life, welcome to the stream. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. So this one's kind of stuck underneath the ramp, it looks like. So this is a Claymore 2. So this is the highest tier of Ecliptic ship, the Claymore, and it is the second of 3 possible tiers of this ship. So it's a fairly decent one for us to take. So we've got the Commandant there. Got this one who's looking at the landing gear facing away from us, so we should be able to get in here. Let's make sure the landing deck is clear. It is. So we'll wait for the Commandant to go back. And when he does, we will make our way up the landing ramp and we'll board the ship. And you do not want to kill both of them that are out here. If you kill all of them that are patrolling, the ship will close its landing bay and it will take off. And then you lose the opportunity to board it. So you want to board this kind of stealthily. And he's walking quite a ways out where he didn't do that last time, so... I'm going to carefully make my way up here and see if we can sneak our way on. Okay, so he's coming back, but I think we're okay. Now, as soon as you board, the alarms are going to start going off. And people are going to be alerted to your presence. This time it looked like we snuck on, but we didn't have any good shots on anybody. Okay, now the layout of the Claymore is fairly straightforward. So we got an advanced Deep Seeker. Unfortunately, Deep Seeker helmets are not very good. Okay, so the main deck here has 2 ladders that lead up. Okay, there's no other passageways off of this or anything like that. So the back one here, and again, you can see no passageways off of this. The back one here leads into a self-contained storage room with no way out. So you can ignore this ladder. This is the docking port here. So everything happens up this ladder here. And when you're in here, you've got one door that leads you out of it. Okay, so it's easy to kill the 2 that are down there. Then you've got a choke point here for anybody else that might be around. And it looks like there's an Ecliptic sitting here. Okay, so that ends that. And now you need to start watching for the front door up here. Because again, as you progress through this, so repulsing Deep Seeker pack, we'll take a look at these, but again, it's a legendary, but it's not very good. So this is the main bridge. But the main bridge gives you access to a lot of other portions of the ship here. So you're going to get a lot of enemies generated.
Exercising caution.
You can see all the enemies that are here, but they all have to come through that door.
Commencing search.
Doesn't matter where all they're moving. They're going to have to come out through that door.
Scan the area.
And you can see there's a whole lot of movement happening here because there's a floor directly underneath of us. So all of that movement is them moving around on the other floors below us.
I want eyes on that target.
And sometimes you will get completely rushed out of this door. And sometimes... Okay, so he shot a grenade at me. Not nice. And sometimes they will tend to stay downstairs on the lower level. But we'll go check all that out here in just a second. They're still moving around quite a bit, so we're going to let them
Show yourself.
kind of settle down a little bit.
Sweeping.
Now, off to each side here, you have ramps or stairs that head down to the lower level of this place. And there's a door down there where they can show up from. Okay, so an advanced ecliptic spacesuit is kind of nice, so I'm going to take that.
Clear.
Okay, so you've got a door down here that leads you to other parts of the ship. That same door is accessible from this side. That ramp takes you down there. But there's no other ways off the bridge here. Your cargo hold is here. Your captain's locker is here. So now we have the same type of thing. We've got a single choke point here to be able to deal with. Now this is going to open up into a much larger room.
What the? Hold her down. Exposed.
Okay, so he decided to run at me, and so did this guy. Right while I was reloading, thank you very much. And now these three enemies here might actually be the enemies outside the ship that we bypassed, and we're going to take the advanced power pack.
I lost contact.
We got a superior ecliptic and another advanced pack. Ecliptic armor is fairly easy to find, and especially at these levels, finding advanced and superior versions of it is relatively easy to do, and you can use it to equip your companions.
Searching. No sign of hostiles.
As far as how it compares to the top tier, to the Mercenary, Bounty Hunter, Trackers Alliance, and Explorer, it's less. It doesn't have as high a base stats, but it's easy to find.
We lost one.
So it's easy.
Mission incomplete.
Thank you. Go away. So it's easy to find higher tier versions of it to equip your companions with. You don't have to go searching around for a lot of superior type high-end bounty hunter armors and that sort of stuff. Ecliptic is really easy to come by. Okay, so now you kind of see how this works out. You have these living quarters around here. You have an open floor down here. Again, no other ways out of here. Then you have a single door here that leads you up to the bridge. Okay. Now from here, we want to occupy the pilot seat. And we're going to immediately jump to a different system, and we're going to jump over to Zelazny, where we were a bit ago. Here. Now, yeah, this ship, I'm going to have to go modify it first because of the jump range. It's got a horrifically bad jump range. So let's go jump it back to the main systems first. And once you travel to another system, you're going to see it's going to make this your home ship. So now this is yours. Okay, so can we make it? We can't make it all the way back. We can make it to Arena, though. And then here we will jump back to... We'll see if we can actually jump to our outpost. It looks like we can. Because we have a landing pad, a large landing pad with shipbuilder here. So that gives us access to all of the non-specialty items for our ship. And to access that, it's right here. Okay. This happens sometimes. I'm gonna try and see if I can rectify this. Actually, we'll do it down here at our outpost. Sometimes you're not able to click E to activate it. You're able to hold E to bring up the outpost menu from it, but you're not able to click it and just activate it, so you can modify your ship. And I think how I've cured this in the past is just to go sleep for an hour. But now we'll go check and see if it works. Hey, it doesn't. Okay. Okay, so this is interesting. Opens up the ability to build the armillary and everything else here. But yeah, this is our build console. This is not what we're looking for. We're looking for the shipbuilder, and it's not allowing me to access it here. Not entirely sure why that happens sometimes at your outposts, but it's not that big a deal. We just have to do some small modifications, and we can easily do that here at Jemison. So we're just going to land at New Atlantis, so we have access to the ship services technician, and we'll modify this ship real quick.
Anything I can help you with? We're asking
Okay,
everyone.
so we're going to view and modify the ship.
How about it?
The first thing that we're going to have to do is register it. So the value is 62.9K. When you register it, that's going to take a portion or a sum of credits to be able to register it so that you can actually change it or modify it or do anything like that with it. And that's always going to be a big chunk of credits. So finding, or I guess farming ships for credits can be a fairly lucrative thing to do, assuming you have a system, a method, a way to go about it, and especially if you have a ship that is equipped to do it in a fast way, meaning being able to board the ship, take it over, hop in it, take control of it so that it becomes yours, and then immediately using that ship to dock with your previous ship, going back to your regular ship as your home ship and sending this one off to your bank, so to speak, and holding it while you go search for something else, because otherwise it's a lot of work just for 10,000 or so credits at the high end. You do get access to all the items that are on the ship, which you can sell as well, so it automatically loots the enemies on it. But again, it can be a lucrative way of going about it, but for the most part, there are other ways to make money faster than that. So we're just going to start by going to the shipbuilder here. And a couple of things to notice about this is, one, here's our grav drive right here at the back. So we can pull this out. We're going to hit G to add, and we can go to our grav drives. Okay. And actually, I didn't look to see what this one was. This is a Apollo GV200. So that's this one here. You see, we have access to higher level versions of it. So this one would give us a individual travel distance of 50. That's what the grav jump thrust number means. We can travel 45 light years in a single jump between systems, which I think the highest you have to do with using auto plotting is something like 29 light years. So anything above it just means You have fewer jumps that you have to make if you're doing exploration and that sort of stuff. But 45 is, or 50 is certainly more than enough. However, you can also look at the health number, and this one is 308 and 50, and it uses 11 power, whereas this one uses 11 power. It's 241 and 45. This is 288 and 50. So this one gets you 308 and 50. The mass is 154, the mass is 144, so you're adding 10 more mass. The more heavy you are, the slower your maneuverability is, and the more you may have to upgrade your engines to get your mobility number up to a higher number. So, but at this point, anything that is getting us up here into those 50s is good. So we're just going to put the 300 grav drive and slot it in there, and then this one here we can delete. So we've got our jump thrust up to be one of the highest numbers that we have in the game, and now we need to start looking at our overall range. Now, you're being able to jump 50 light years between systems is great, but if your fuel tank only holds 100 light years worth of fuel, then you can only make 2 jumps. You can't jump necessarily all the way across the map. And for that, you need to upgrade your fuel storage. Okay, now on this, I need to remember where the fuel storage is here. Okay, here it is. So you have 2 of these, one on each side, that are kind of jammed in here above the landing gear. So you have a 500T helium-3 tank. That's a 210 jump fuel range. And on this side, you have another one. So you have 420 jump range worth of fuel. So if we go out here to add and we look at our fuel tanks, these are 500Ts that have 210. You can see that we can get up to 400 per. So that would be 800, and that would more than double our fuel capacity. Could even take that up to more, to 650. Our mass starts going up. That means our mobility is going to go down. But 1,300 overall light years is more than enough to get you from one end of the map to the other without having to land on intermediate planets like we did on the way back here to Jemison. So I'm going to escape out of this. I'm going to move this one out of the way, and I'm going to click in here and see if we can drag this 900 fuel tank into that spot. So it's not wanting to be very cooperative here, so we'll just add it over here. Add it completely out of the way. Okay, there we go. So the 900 we're not going to be able to add. That's because this fuel tank is only 1 tall. The 900 is 2 tall, so it won't fit in that spot. The 700 is too tall, the 600 is too tall, so the 500 is the biggest single height of the ballistic solutions tanks that we can put in. So let's look at others that we might be able to fit in there that are 1 tall. Okay, so the Atlas, this is 550 each. And it's 1 tall. So let's see if we can drop this in. We're going to flip this side just in case. We're going to drop that in, and let's see if we can drag this into here, or if we have to drag the cowling out first. So we'll drag the braking engine out of the way first. Okay, so this one might be stuck on a point underneath here. Yes, it might. It's not connected to the reactor, even though it looks like it could be. So let's delete that. We'll go here to this companionway, and we'll attach here and look at our fuel tanks that we can attach directly to it. So here we can attach that directly to it. However, we might not be able to attach the braking engine because there's no connection point on this side. And the braking engine probably needs to attach to this here. So I think what we might do instead is drop this back in and leave those fuel tanks where it is, where they are. And these radiators are just visual components. They don't serve any purpose as far as your ship stats go. And right here, we can probably attach more fuel tanks. So right now we have 420. We could add any of these and significantly up it. That wouldn't be very much to add. However, adding on something like this would. Okay, so that gives us 1,100 fuel between these two, and it gives us another 420 between these two. So we're at 1,500 fuel, and that's more than enough to jump all the way across the galaxy from one side to the next. So now we can look at our weapons, and before we do that though, we're going to just double click everything that highlights the entire ship. And now you can hit J for color. And you can modify the 3 different colors here that are on the ship and apply it to everything. Okay, so we're going to go in here, we're going to go color, and we're just going to take everything to black for the main one. We can maybe drop in some gray here for this, and then this one you can see the third color scheme is kind of your trims and that sort of stuff. So again, we'll drop this down. We'll maybe put in some white on this. Okay, we have a nominal down here, so our flight check is going to work. All systems are nominal. So we can close, and we're going to exit, and it's going to ask us to confirm the modifications, and we're going to do it. So now from here, I'm just going to hit the E key to upgrade my ship. So here, starting, we're going to look at our weapons. Okay, so weapon 0 is our missile launchers, and we don't necessarily want our missile launchers to be weapon 0. So then, but our missile launcher is right over here on this side. is here. We have a railgun that's on this side, and then we have auto turrets, which are back here. So, for me, if you're using auto turrets, and they are the particle weapon types, which is here they're doing both hull damage and shield damage, you're giving up on being able to board ships for the most part. Because the turrets fire automatically without your input, and they are continually damaging the hull and the shield. They are not electromagnetic weapons, which are damaging the systems without really doing much damage to the hull and to the shield. So if you're going with these type here that are equally damaging hull and shields, you're going to really be just looking to kill ships as quick as you can, is what they're meant for. This isn't a disabling type of setup. You can change these. So these are the PBOs. That's what these are. They are the PBO auto turrets. The alpha beams. So you can see that these are not auto turrets. These are just beams that you can then control yourself. So you can use these to do equal damage to hull and shields, but you control them yourself. So they're not going to fire automatically. They are under your control. The auto alpha beams are your turrets that are going to fire on their own as soon as you select an enemy. They're going to start firing if it's within range. So I tend to normally go with things that I can control myself as opposed to the auto versions. So I'm going to change these out to a high damage, both hull and shield damaging weapons that I can control myself. And that means that then the missile launcher here, I can leave. It's not really a big deal one way or the other if I have a missile launcher or not. Missile launchers can do this type anyway, can do damage to hull and shields as well, but I'm doing a lot of that with my main weapons here. I'm going to probably just end up changing this out to be something that's EM based. So one of these suppressor versions. You can see they don't do a lot of hull or shield, so you're not in danger of killing the ship, but you are going to be doing electromagnetic damage. And that is just going to disable the ship so that you can board it. Okay, so I'm going to start looking for those. So these suppressors here. So it's got a range of 800. 800, this is slightly more power here, so the Fulminator 8000 will keep that in mind. So then the Firebolt does 47, and I already forgot what the Fulminator was doing. 58, so the Fulminator is probably going to be our best one to put on here. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it on here. And then this one, I'm just going to exit and confirm. Whoops. And then here, I'm going to go to the shipbuilder. I'm going to delete this. And I'm going to attach. And again, I'm going down to the Fulminator to go in its spot. So, and this warning is probably going to be that I'm missing a weapon assignment. And that's because I've got two weapons, two types of weapons, and not three. And that's fine. So now if I go to upgrade ship, so it added Oh yeah, see I've got weapon 0 and weapon 1, that's it. Okay, so I don't have a third weapon system here, but I don't necessarily need it either. So as far as my engines go, so these are White Dwarf 1000s. I can upgrade them to a higher tier, and you can see my mobility is going to go up because of it. These set of engines here, you look at them, the numbers that are here, I can upgrade those to the 2200s, and again, I gain more mobility out of it. My shield generator. So here, I can upgrade and get quite a bit more shields out of this, because right now I'm at 975 with a 5% regen rate. Here I can get 1190 with a 5% regen rate. The grav drive's already upgraded. I don't necessarily need to upgrade the reactor because the reactor's got enough power right now to be able to satisfy everything I've got on here, but you can upgrade it again. Here, I'm going to lose 1 mobility because of the increase in mass. But this is going to give me the ability, basically, to sport whatever I want on this thing. Okay, so now I can confirm those. And there is my Claymore 2. And this is just quick modifications. You can obviously spend a lot more time putting more into this. This is just a quick and dirty type of way to going about taking your ship and modifying it to do to be a base level combat increase for what you're looking for. Because again, look at our weapon systems now. We don't have a third weapon, so we don't have to put any power towards it, but you can see that we're able to max out any of those bars at any time that we want. We don't necessarily have enough energy in our reactor to be able to max them all out, but we do have the opportunity to be maxed out on quite a few things with our ship here. Okay, so now here in your Claymore, like I said, your entry point is back here at the back. Once you're in, it's easy to make your way in to your... And this is actually at the back here, so yes. If you're coming in through the back, these doors are normally open, so you just make your way up here to this front elevator, and you're 1 door away from being able to enter onto your bridge. So normally when these doors are open, you just come in the back, you go to the front ladder, and walk all the way through, and you're at your pilot seat. So it's a fairly easy layout to utilize. So if you're looking for an advanced ship that's easy to get, just head out to the other end to the higher level systems and wait for, and just keep re-landing on a planet until you get a Claymore to land. It's an easy ship to be able to upgrade and deal with, and you only need to spend about 30 minutes or so just upgrading it to make it work. Okay. So now that we have an upgraded ship here, we're going to start looking at our items. And before I do that, I'll just do a quick recap on what we have with our items. So again, we upped our level enough to be able to buy superior spacesuits and items from the vendors. So all we had to do was go to the vendors, see if they had any superior Trackers Alliance, Bounty Hunter, mercenary, or explorer suits and just buy one up. And that's what we did. These are just the regular tier. They are not rare, epic, or legendary. And we did the same thing with the advanced weapons, because right now, as I talked about, the advanced weapons is the highest tier that you can go. There is code in the game for a superior version, but it doesn't show up as superior. It just shows up as advanced. You have to kind of check the base stats and see if your advanced version has a higher base stat or not to know if it's the quote-unquote superior version. We're hoping that's going to be fixed in an upcoming patch. But we just bought advanced versions of them and modded them to be what we wanted. If we could find legendary versions of these, they would give us the 3 additional perks in here, and then we could mod them also. So we're looking for legendary advanced versions of our main weapons as well as our main armors. We're looking for legendary superior versions of these suits. Okay, and to do that, we talked very briefly about how to... And here I'm just going to quickly drop some of these off so I'm not carrying them. This is a legendary, but Deep Seeker, this is the first tier of it, so it's not refined, calibrated, advanced, or superior. It's the base tier, so even though it's legendary, it's going to have really, really low stats on it. The advanced Deep Seeker here, advanced is good, it's not the highest. You can get superior Deep Seeker, but Deep Seeker is in the tier 3 of armors. So the base stats on this, if I compare it to mine, are going to be a lot lower. Even if I put the same mods on it, they would be a lot lower than this. So you're looking for superior, and then you're looking for Trackers Alliance, Bounty Hunter, Mercenary, or Explorer sets to get the highest base stats on your armors. Okay, so I'm going to drop this off. My apparel's still good. My throwables look like I pick up some additional grenades I don't need. We're going to drop off all of our resources. And we're good. Okay, so now we're going to head out and we're going to look at trying to go through the process of farming a legendary item. Now, to do that, again, you come out here to the ends of the systems, and you can see we can travel all the way across the galaxy now. So if we zoom back out here and we just set our course, you can see that we have 1,520 fuel, and it's going to take us 738 to get out here. So traveling from the far corners, from Bessel, your outpost, all the way out here to Huygens, costs you about 840. So 800 is going to do 95% of all of the traveling that you're going to do across the galaxy. We just have a lot more in that because of how the tank setup worked with us. But we're going to come back out here, and I went out to Zelazny, I believe, to do this. Yes. So the reason I did Zelazny is because I had a pre-spawned point of interest out here. And that's the deserted UC garrison. The easiest one to farm legendaries at is the Deserted Colony War Barracks. Now that doesn't spawn very often. It's a fairly rare spawn. And you're looking for one that's out here on the edges so that you're at least level 60 or above. And the reason for that is that the final enemy, the quote-unquote boss enemy at the POI, is going to be your highest level enemy. He's going to have multiple armor slots associated with him, and he's going to drop your highest tiered items at that POI. So you can just look for these military type outposts, which normally have an easy way to get to the final enemy. Or you can go out here to the end of the galaxy out here. You can land on a planet anywhere you want. And when you land, you can just keep landing over and over until you get that random colony war barracks to spawn. It's just such a rare one that if you don't have it spawn predetermined, it's going to take a while to get it. So it's normally not worth it. Just go looking through your planets out here and find something that's at least level 60 or higher, so you can guarantee that you're going to get advanced weapons out of it. And head out to it. Why is it giving me an unexplored route now? We'll just clear out of it and go back in. So Zelazny... Oh, it's farther down here. No, it's down here. And I just scouted this one out briefly. Why is it giving me unexplored route? Let me see if I can just plot a route to the system. Yeah. Sometimes. Okay, and now I'll land here. And this is a fairly easy POI to go through. The reason I pick most of the military ones is because you don't have to go through a long cave system or something to get to the final end of it, killing everybody along the way. The military ones are normally a fairly straightforward outside area. That you just have to kill off the enemies outside, and then you normally find the head honcho inside of a building where all you have to do is open the door and attack him. So that's what we're going to do with this, because the layout of this one is fairly straightforward. And I normally wouldn't do this on a planet that has fauna because I don't like the animals trying to attack me, but this is a fairly straightforward one. Okay, so once you get close, you can start scouting this out. And you're going to have an enemy that's normally patrolling these stairs up here. Jeez, okay, there go all of my buttons. Crazy. Okay. You're going to have some spacers outside the front gate here. Spacers or ecliptic, it just entirely depends. There's this one up here, patrolling. So you're fairly easily able to knock him off without attracting too much attention. And then you can take the high ground over there. And you can look down on everything else. So we alerted one spacer who's sitting outside here. He probably can't see us. But if he does, he's the only one that's alerted, so if he pops up over this bridge... And these guys you can just clear out. You don't need to worry about them. They are not... It's the final guy in here is the one that we're looking for. Okay, so we're clear again. And now, like I said, you can take the high ground here in this tower if you want. There's a little jumping exercise to get around this tree here. Okay, now you can see over this entire place. And from here, you can just systematically go about clearing out the outside. Now, the main guy you're looking for is in there. Okay? And he normally stays in there. He normally doesn't come out. Unless you have some animals that are trying to come out and attack everybody. So we're just going to go start clearing these guys out. And your goal here is trying not to disturb the main guy in there. You don't want him roaming around all over the place. You want to put him in a spot where you can go find him easily. I think I saw him here. There he is. Okay, so looks like our main guy's still staying inside there, which is good. We might have somebody trying to track their way down to us here. Okay, so looks like we're good again. Those might be animals that are showing up on my map. Now we'll go make our way over here to the main building, and if we find any other enemies out here, we'll just clear them out real quick. Yeah, these are animals. Yeah. Okay, so there was one. I saw him. Okay, I don't think that's him, though. He's only 48. The main guy you want is normally behind a table in there. But I don't see anybody else in there. So that might be him. He might have come out a little ways. That's a pretty low level, though, for him to be. Okay, so I'm highlighting him just to see if there's anybody else around, or if that actually is him. Don't necessarily see anybody else in there. I'm gonna make my way around here real quick. Okay, so that might be him there. I'm hoping that this guy up here is the high level one. And that guy out front is just a low level. Okay, I'm not going to be able to see anything from here. I'm going to have to get into the room to see it. I'm going to take a little chance here. Okay, now he decided to patrol and look right at me. Okay, I'm going to take a chance that this is not him, and I'm going to kill this guy. And now that I think I have just that one left, I'm going to make a full save before I go into this room. And this is how you start prepping to farm an item. So I'm going to drop a full save here. Okay. Now I'm going to go in here, and my goal is to shoot him enough that I get a random chance that he cripples, meaning he goes down on his hands and knees and starts crawling around. And if he does, as soon as I cripple him, I'm going to save again. If I kill him, then I'm going to reload my save. And your goal is to try and get him to a crippled state. And you want to do this, you want to try and go for body shots as opposed to headshots, because every shot you land has that same random chance to put him down into a crippled state once you get his armor gone. So changing to something that does low damage at that point can help to cripple him. But you want to start with basically body shots to get rid of his armor. Yes, this is who you want. And see, you're getting rid of the armor bars. And now once you've got that last bar, it's a random chance as to whether or not he's going to go down on his knees. Okay, so now he's trying to run away. And this happens sometimes, they will try and run from you, and this is not ideal. Okay, so ended up killing him. Okay, so this means that you're stuck with whatever item you get. So in this case, you just reload it.
I will find you. What was that?
Okay, so he went down on his knees. So he's crippled. So now as soon as he's crippled, drop another full save. Because now he's going to crawl away, or he's going to try and crawl away. You want to get him onto a flat surface. If he's going to stay stuck there, then we will see if this is going to work or not. Because what you're trying to do now is you're watching his health bar. It's slowly ticking down. And right before he dies, right before that health runs out, you want to drop a quick save. Okay, and you want to be pointing in front of him a little bit, because when they die, they kind of lay out flat in front of you. So the goal is to have him dead with your icon pointed right on top of him. Now he's in a weird spot here. So right now I'm dropping a quick save. Okay, and he dies right there. So I have a legendary, but this legendary is the refined tier. I'm looking for superior, which is 2 tiers above this. So even though it's got legendary perks, and it's got some decent ones, it's got fastened, which is increased carrying capacity, and assisted carry, so when you're encumbered, you don't use nearly as much oxygen. It's not the superior that you're looking for. So if you're not looking for it, then all you do is hit your quick reload key, which on PC is F8, or is F9, I'm sorry. And it will reload you right before he dies. He will die in front of you again. Okay, so I must have gotten my quick save in too late. I waited a split second too long, it looks like. Yes, because the quick save landed after he was already dead. So in that case, I go back to my full load where he was crippled and load it up. And that's important to have that full load, because one of the main problems with this is when they're crawling around, they will end up on uneven terrain, like rocks or something like that. And then when they die, Bethesda physics kicks in, and their body might go flying all over the place. And they're normally crawling away from you. He's stuck on Bethesda physics right now, but normally he would be crawling away. So it takes some work to move in front of him to get your cursor lined up with where he's going to die, and still reach over and hit the quick save button when you want to. So here we're just going to get ready to hit the quick save again, and that will overwrite our previous quick save, and we can start this again. So I'm going to quick save there. He dies, and I don't want that, so I'm going to quick reload. And he dies right in front of you. And now, if your icon is pointed at where his dead body is, the list of items automatically comes up. So you can see I've got Advanced Deep Core. It's a legendary, which is nice. It is Advanced, which is not the highest tier. It's Superior is the highest tier of armor, and it's Deep Core, which again is the tier. This is actually the second tier, or the first tier below the Bounty Hunter, Trackers Alliance, etc. So I'm definitely not going to take this one either. So then just quick reload. And you can keep doing this over and over until you get an armor or a weapon to drop that you want. The higher the enemy level, the more likely you are to get legendaries and or higher tiers of items. And that's why you need to come out here to the end of the galaxy to be able to do this, so that you're going to be getting high tier final enemies at these areas, which give you the best options. Now again, Shock Troop, this is the basic tier. It's not even calibrated, refined, advanced, or superior. It's just the basic tier, so definitely not what we want. And this is how you This is an easy way to farm legendary items that you may need. Okay, so again, not even legendary, and it's advanced. It's not superior. So reload. So you will sit here, and I'm not going to sit here forever. This is not exactly the most engaging gameplay to have you guys watch, but it illustrates an easy way to farm legendary items. Instead of just going all the way through a POI and clearing it all out and getting to the end and you find the end crate and it's got mediocre items in it, this gives you a chance to get a high tier legendary version of stuff really, really often. And if you don't want it, all you have to do is hit one key to reload it. Okay. So we're just going to go until we get a few more options here and see if we can come up with something that's going to be worthwhile. And then we're going to head out and we're going to go look at some other quests. So an advanced Old Earth pistol. The Old Earth pistol has fairly high damage at the advanced level. It's not the highest, but it is a fairly decent weapon to have for a pistol if you don't have the XM2311s. The Furious here is a really good perk to have. Each consecutive hit deals more damage. So as you're using this to hit an enemy more often, your damage is going to be going up. And it goes up 5% per hit, so it can stack up pretty well as you're going through it. But again, with it being only a rare, not even an epic or a legendary, I'm only going to have one perk on it. And I'd prefer to get something that's a legendary if I can. So we'll spend 5 or 10 minutes here and just quickly go through these and kind of see what we end up with. So a disassembler, explorers, advanced something. So here you can see it's an advanced Beowulf. So if I compare this with what I have, I'm holding the Beowulf now. So you can see that the base damage on this right now is 184, and that's having armor piercing but not having high powered. Which adds more damage to it. So this thing would end up, since it's advanced, it would end up at 212. The only difference is I would now add on 20% damage against robots. Not that great of a perk to have. Okay, daggers. I don't normally concentrate on melee in this game. They've done quite a bit to improve melee damage, and they've really done that because they've improved the stealth mechanic. It used to be that even if you had full stealth, you couldn't sneak up right behind an enemy. Now you can, like you used to be able to in Skyrim. However, they don't have the one-hit assassinate mechanic in this game that they had in Skyrim, so it makes your stealth melee not nearly as powerful or as useful as it used to be. So here is an advanced space trucker. Space trucker again is 2 tiers below. It's in the 3rd tier of armors, so it's not something that you want to focus on if you're looking for high defensive stats. So I tend not to even look at melee items when they come in, like Ripshanks. I don't even tend to look at them because the melee is just not all that great in this game. You can do a lot to improve it, but it's not really worth it. So here you have a bounty hunter. Again, bounty hunter is one of the top tier of armor sets. So if you compare it, the superior is going to be beating out the refined. And that's really the difference here. Ablative, 15% incoming energy damage. You don't get a lot of energy damage in this game. So I tend to not be nearly as important as some of the other perks anyway. Okay, so here we have an advanced Old Earth hunting rifle. And if you're skipping this, or if you're modding this out, the Old Earth hunting rifle can be a good replacement for the Beowulf. You're going to be dropping off damage, because the damage of this, even after it's modded, is not as high as the Beowulf, and you're also going to be dropping off some magazine size. However, what you're going to get is range for this, a lot. And that means that your damage at longer range with the Old Earth hunting rifle is going to be a lot higher than with the Beowulf. So there are trade-offs here to be had. Berserker is not necessarily a great trait. Radioactive, anything that deals damage over time. So incendiary, radioactive, poisonous, anything that's going to deal that DOT is always a good thing to have. Skip shot is just not a great perk either. So not something that I'm going to focus on, so we'll just reload and check for some other stuff. And again, we're only going to do this for 56. We started at 52, so we're going to do it for 6 more minutes, and then we're going to just take whatever we get and we're going to move on, because again, this isn't the most engaging gameplay for you guys to watch. It's just a good illustration of how to farm items, of a way to farm items. Okay, so on average, I tend to find my main characters completely outfitted using this same thing, and if I had to guess, I probably spent 2.5 hours of time to find my 2 main weapons, the hard target and the Beowulf, and all 3 armor pieces. Probably took me 2.5 hours or so if I had to guess. So about 30 minutes, give or take, of doing this, saving and reloading to find it. And it takes you, depending upon your loading and whether you've got SSD and that sort of stuff, it can take somewhere around the 6 to 8 seconds to reload this game every time. And if you're spending 30 minutes doing it, that's a lot of reloads. So it gets fairly boring, and like I say, it's not the most engaging gameplay for you guys to watch. But if you spend some time doing it, you can outfit yourself really, really well. You just need to have a little patience and spend a little time doing it. Okay, so again, a rip shank. I don't focus on the melee weapons. So the first thing that when it pops up, and I see the list and I look at it, the first thing I'm doing is looking for the color. If it's light blue, then I tend not to focus as much. Then the second thing I'm doing is looking for the prefix. Beast Hunters means that it has a certain trait on it. And then after the Beast Hunters or the modified or whatever that first descriptor is, you're going to find the tier. And there's no tier listing here. It doesn't say refined, calibrated, advanced, or superior. So this is the base tier. So if it's the base tier, I don't care what comes after it. I don't care that it's Bounty Hunter, even though that's the highest tier of base armor. It's the lowest tier of armor inside the Bounty Hunter set. So I'm instantly going to reload it. So after a while, you tend to get used to very quickly looking at the name and knowing whether or not you're going to reload it. So after a bit of comparing and looking at them, you kind of get into a rhythm here of knowing what you're going to do. And again, this is taking me 6 to 8 seconds per. So I can get anywhere from 8 to 10 of these or so in a minute, and I do it for on average 30 minutes before I find something. So you do a lot of reloads until you end up finding something that you want, because there's going to be a lot of trash in here. So an advanced negotiator, the negotiator, I don't normally use heavy weapons, but just so you see it, the negotiator is one of your heavy weapons. This is your grenade launcher. Does seriously high damage. It's got low fire rate and a low mag, but it also does AoE damage. The hand loading perk is interesting. It does a lot of damage occasionally, but then you'll shoot one off and it won't do anything. It'll be a dud. So it's not something that I tend to focus on, but your legendary advanced bridgers. Now here is a Hitman Advanced Beowulf. So this is purple, so it's epic, so it's going to have 2 traits on it. So it's got Berserker, which isn't a great trait, but it is okay. As you start to get more hurt, your weapon damage goes up. So it can help you out of some sticky situations if you were starting to get hurt. Hitman is a great perk, especially if you're utilizing the weapons like I do, which is more in your stealth ranged type of build. Because I'm always going to be aiming, and that means that I'm always going to be getting 15% additional damage on this. So it's not great on things that you're using close-up hipfire type. So you want to try and always be aiming to get that additional 15% damage. So this is, again, I'm not going to sit here all night wasting your guys' time. So this is probably one of the better ones that I'm going to get. Just sitting here in this, 5 minutes or so going through it. So I'm going to take this one. We're going to head back. We're going to mod it to have the exact same mods on it as we have on this one. And the damage should go up to be 212, but I will have these additional traits. So I'm going to get that 15% additional damage while I'm aiming. So we're going to pick this up. And now on our way out of here, we can look around and just do some quick credit pickups throughout the rest of this. And see if there's anything on any of these higher level enemies. So there wasn't. It was just advanced tombstone. And again, you can continue looting through this. One quick thing to notice is our skills. So we need 22 more kills with a scoped weapon to get our sniper certification up again. And we need 65 more kills with the rifle. Your planets that have fauna are going to be really good locations to get your kills up, because every one of these animals counts as a kill once you're done with it. Now, these are hit scan, so you don't have to lead your target. And I need to get this reload done. This one's a high level, had a lot of armor. Okay, so those are just free kills basically to get your skills back up. So if you want to quickly level up your weapon skills, then land on a planet that has fauna. And if you can get the at least the moderate amount, but if you get the plentiful trait for fauna, then you get a lot of animals to spawn. And you can just sit on top of your ship and knock them out. And again, the other thing to remember is that these are hit scans, so you don't have to lead your targets. It looks like you've got a bullet coming out, but where that bullet is going is irrelevant. It's wherever your cursor's pointed at the time you pull the trigger. And just like that, we went up 15 or so kills. And if you get the pack versions of animals, you're going to spawn them in greater numbers, and as soon as you kill one, they're going to start all tracking toward you. So then they just come to you. Makes it incredibly easy to rack up a whole bunch of kills. So what I like to do is get up here on top of my ship to a high point so I can see all the way around me and start looking at stuff to kill. Okay, now these enemies are in a fight with each other, or these animals, I guess, which is nice for us. And we're just going to level up our sniper certification here, and then we'll head out and mod this weapon. So this one's soaking up a lot of damage. Shouldn't have that many more kills to go here real quick. Pretty sure we'll find enough. There it is. So now we definitely want to level that up so we can hold our breath longer with scoped weapons. What you're really trying to do is get down here to rank 4. That's when you get a huge damage boost whenever you're aiming with a scope. And that's also going to mesh with Hitman. So we're going to be gaining a lot of additional damage when we're aiming and when we're doing it with a scoped weapon. Okay, simple enough. So let's head back to Jemison and we can mod this up real quick. And then we're going to go out and we're going to take a look at our quest listing and see what we have available to us. And we're going to be getting some... I need to clear out some of these saves so I can keep you guys from having to see this, the annoying message that's going to keep popping up. This one. So let's delete some of these additional saves. This is simply because of the PC syncing your games to your Microsoft Game Pass account and being limited to 1 gigabyte worth of storage. So once you get to that point, you need to back up your saves and then manually delete them out of this list. And there is no way to manually select multiple versions of this, so you just need to go through and manually delete them. And when you've got 150 or so of them, this is... You can see how this becomes a point of contention on the forums. Save file management is a constant source of complaints in the game, and there are mods that help correct some of that because, again, Bethesda. But it is what it is. Okay, so when you head in here, and again, we've talked about modding before. I keep all of my materials in this unlimited storage box right down here in the basement. Now, for you, I talked about this a while ago. If you're modding a weapon, then hopefully you picked up Orlaze's lab coat. Orlaze's lab coat is a... We can actually show it. Let me drop a quick save here. We'll wait for that to finish. We'll load up my main character here just so you can show it. If you watched the previous live stream where we encountered this, I didn't have the weapons set up correctly on the ship I was on, so when I went to board his ship, I actually was not using the suppressor to disable his ship. I was using the main weapons to do it, and it ended up killing him, and I ended up killing his ship and couldn't board his ship. If you board Orlaze's ship during the UC Vanguard questline, you get Orlaze's lab coat. It's on his body on the ship. If you kill his ship, this is not lootable. This is not in the ship wreckage. So if you board his ship, you get Orlaze's lab coat. There's a chance to craft weapon mods without using resources. The exact percentage is unknown, but in my reckoning, it works out to be somewhere around 2.5% of the time that you're crafting a mod, you do not use any resources to do it. So if you're going to mod your weapon, make sure you pull Orlaze's lab coat out, make sure you equip it, and then pick up your resources and go over to the bench and craft your mods. Now here, obviously, we do not have Orlaze's lab coat, but it's something to keep down here in that unlimited storage box. So if you ever need to craft mods on your weapons, you can put that on and hope for the best. Okay, so for us, we're just going to transfer and we're going to take all. Now we're going to go over here to our weapon workbench. Now the Commander's Advanced is what we had, so we're going to look to duplicate these exact same mods here. So long barrel, medium scope, and suppressor. So long barrel, medium scope, and suppressor. Okay, and then tactical grip, foregrip with laser sight, and armor piercing rounds. So tactical, laser sight, and armor piercing. So tactical grip, foregrip with recon laser sight, armor piercing rounds. And last, for the internal, is going to be high powered. It looks like we need tantalum for that. we're short 3 tantalum. So we're going to go drop all of these resources back. And then we can go to the commercial district. And head right over here to UC Distribution. And tantalum is a fairly common mineral in here to pick up, so it should be available to us.
I'm pleased to report that our stocks
And again,
are
if you're
currently
looking for
being
minerals,
maintained at 90%
come
or
here. If
higher.
you're looking for
I'm
the
sure we have anything you
crafting
might
components, head across
Welcome
the street
UC
to
Distribution.
Outland.
Something I can do for you? Yes, of course. Please.
So we're looking for tantalum. We have more than enough here, so we'll just buy it all.
You're always welcome back, if you don't mind.
Head down here, pick up our resources again. And we should be able to craft that last weapon mod. Which is high powered. Can drop those resources back off so we're not overloaded. Now, if we look at our inventory, we've got the regular advanced Beowulf here. If we compare it to this, you can see that we have the same physical traits. We have a little more accuracy and a little bit more mass. So it's interesting that the base stats on this one are a little different. As far as accuracy and mass go. Berserker and Hitman may have some hidden stats that modify those numbers that go along with them as traits. But right now it's got the same max damage as what we're looking for. It just adds in a couple of perks or a couple of traits that we can use. So I'm now going to favorite this one, and it's going to replace my existing Beowulf in the lineup. And now this Beowulf we can get rid of, we can sell it, we can do whatever with it. Okay, and that is one of the main ways to go ahead and farm legendary items. You can just keep doing that over and over and over again until your character is completely outfitted. And for instance, this is my main character, and like I say, this is about 2.5 hours worth of farming legendaries to get me to this point here. And here for our weapons, our main one is, or our main Beowulf is here. We have Hitman. Exterminator is nah. But taking 30% damage against aliens lets you kill the animals on the planets faster, so you can level up your skills that rely on rifles and scopes and that sort of stuff a lot faster. Tesla rounds are a way to stun your targets, basically. If you hit them with it, they get an electricity aura, and sometimes they will just stop completely in place. Other times they will just be moving really slow. I also have my hard target here, which Furious is really nice on a hard target at 601 base damage. Radioactive deals damage over time, which is good. Titanium build just means that this thing doesn't weigh 20 pounds. It weighs 2 pounds, which really helps with your carry weight. I also have a couple of different versions of... Oh, and I also have the Mag Sniper. Now, I don't like the Mag Sniper. I really don't like it. So even though it's got a high damage, I think the hard target does damage more consistently and at a higher rate than the Mag Sniper does, but I do have a legendary version. Cornered is, again, fairly useless, but can get you out of jams. Radioactive, any damage over time, and explosive is randomly doing a lot of damage on the Mag Sniper. But then the legendary pistol, I have two versions of this. I have an explosive version of this. Space Adept I do not like because I do not spend a lot of time in space compared to on ground, so I lose damage here. But this is my boarding weapon. You can fire it really fast, and it does explosive and incendiary. If I'm on the ground, and I'm not up in space, then I have my rare advanced beam pistol here. And this thing just deals out a ton of damage. The advanced Varun rifle, and which is the Inflictor. I don't have an advanced version of it. All I have is the refined version of it. But these do the highest base damage without any mods on them. And then especially the Star Shard does much higher base damage than any other pistol in the game. The Varun Pain Blade is the highest base damage melee, but again, fairly useless. And then I do have a microgun here. I love the Exterminator portion of this, or if you're doing the level up version where you're not crafting items, where you have set up husbandry or animal farms, and you're surrounding your base with a whole bunch of respawning animals at your base. The Exterminator microgun can level you up faster than almost any other way in the game. It's incredibly fast time to kill, and you can kill a lot of things very, very fast, and the ammo that comes with it is incredibly abundant. So you can use it to level up really, really fast. That's something we're not going to demonstrate here because, again, we've done all of our level ups using the outpost crafting method. But the method to set up animal breeding on your outpost and killing the animals as they spawn is certainly another viable way to do it. So we're going to jump back in here and we're going to take a look at our quest lines now. Now that we have a ship that we can go anywhere we want and not be worried about being jumped by anybody, and we have an upclassed version of our Beowulf that we had, let's take a look at our quests and see where we are. So we have a quest here to go talk to Keeper Aquilus about Unity. We also have some more temples that we can go find to fill out our power listings. We also have some other random quests, and we have a whole bunch of activities here. These are things that we've picked up by just walking around and overhearing conversations and that sort of stuff. So some of these, we're going to take a look at some of these because some of them are pretty fun, are pretty interesting. They lead to some really interesting storylines, and one of those is failure to communicate here. Okay, so we're going to go take a look at this quest. So we're going to head to Altair 3C. Now this is a random location, so it might be different in your playthrough. Okay, so we're going to go to Lopez's farm. Okay, while we're here, let's okay, so we have enough to fully power all of our weapons, our engines, and our shields with the reactor that we have. So, fairly well set up with this ship here. We just need to make sure I didn't reset my binds for which weapon goes to which. So I just need to be careful if we get into ship combat, which we're going to. Okay, so we'll go talk to Alban Lopez here.
I'm not afraid to use this to defend my home and my family. But you sure as hell don't look like any spacer I've seen before. So let me get this straight. You heard a distress call and you flew all the way down here. What are you, some sort of priest or good Samaritan? I didn't know people like you were real. But I got a heap load of problems. And I'm willing to pay my share for the help. I don't know what game you're playing, but I guess I'm in. Used to be 4 families that list help set up stakes in this system. We rarely saw eye to eye in the best of times, and believe me true, these ain't the best of times. Spacers started raiding and it's been getting worse. Only a matter of time before they end us all. Unless you're willing to help some hard-working, pig-headed settlers out. No arguments here. The Spacers have taken out the family's list satellites, so we can't even talk to each other. Isolate and eliminate, a classic tale. You fix the Lopez satellite, and I'll open a secure channel, and we can sync up and get the lay of the land. And then get all of our satellites operational. It might be I'm getting caught up in the moment, but I actually feel optimistic for once. Thanks.
Okay, so he wants us to go up and fix one of their satellites, and these are going to be in orbit. Okay, so we're getting spacers here. So I do have EM weapons, so I could board him, but it's not really worth it with any of these low-level ships. You're not going to gain any real benefit out of it. Going to get into boarding ships, then you're going to do it with the level 60 and above ships that you find out there at the far reaches.
Communications is up. Sending the data on the other satellites. You do hear me, right?
Okay, so now we're going to have other satellites throughout the system that we're going to have to go repair. Whoops, he's in the middle of a conversation still.
Hello? Now that's a weight off my shoulders. It's gonna take some time dealing with someone competent. I don't suppose you want a job working hydroponics. No one ever says yes to that. Once you repair the other satellites, I'll open a channel to the other families.
Okay, so now we can pop out and start looking at the other communication satellites. And it's going to be rinse and repeat for the rest of these.
We got you now!
Okay, so again, not that high a level. Not really worth doing anything but killing them. And again, if you don't have an upgraded ship like I have here, these encounters can get a little sporty, especially when you're doing them just one right after another.
And broadcasting. Lopez to Lumiere. Jacqueline, are you there?
Albin? How the hell? I'm almost glad to hear your voice.
Listen, we need to meet, all of us. These spacers have got us on the ropes.
What sort of game are you playing? We're not going to fall for another of your cons.
No game, no ruse. Times have changed. We need to move on, or we'll all be the saddest little footnote in history.
We can meet, but it'll be on my ship.
Fine.
Huh.
I closed the call. So that's good old Jackie. Get to the other families. Hopefully they'll give us a better reception.
Okay, so last one. Choking me up here. Well, head on over to the rendezvous. And that's the last of them.
Stranger, let's meet up on Lemaire's ship. I'll square away payment, but I have a feeling this ain't over and there may be further paying work ahead.
Okay, so now we need to meet up here on Jacqueline's ship. And here, you're going to want to have your persuasion gear on. I believe it's this section here.
Nice to know that not all strangers are bad.
Because you're going to have some talks with the individual family members. So before we get in here, we're going to make sure that we have our fitted business suit on. And do we have any persuasion? Okay, so we do have some Hippolyta left.
You need someone else to do something useful.
Charming as ever. First things first, I'm pretty sure the Spacers got the wins. No contact with them.
All of them? My God.
Shit.
They were good people. They died. Needlessly. Because we couldn't get our act together.
That's rich coming from you. You've scammed me time and time again, Albin.
The Spacers are a threat to us all, Jackie.
And that is the salient point. Mistakes were made, we need to get past that. What I'm proposing is a mutual defense pact, nothing else. Each of us throws in our ships, men, materials, and whatnot, enough to protect all of our asses.
I wouldn't give you one solitary ounce of helium-3 if my life depended on it.
The problem is, it does. I think we all need to cool off. Stranger, a word? First things first. You did an honest day's work, you deserve an honest day's pay. Here, with heartfelt compliments. But I expect you know what's coming next. We're not military folk, and I'm not ashamed to say we are out of our depth. I'll pay you more, much more. If you can help kick the Spacers out of our system for good, and coordinate our efforts to do so. Right you are. So we're not babes in the woods. Each family has a ship or two and hard men and women that can handle themselves in a firefight. But the root of the problem is, admittedly, a self-inflicted injury. My family was here first, and when Liz sent other families here, perhaps I didn't take to it kindly. Might be I made an odd credit here or there at their expense. Something Lemaire especially has never let me live down. But now we need the Lemaires and the Bandas both, I reckon. I wouldn't hold my breath with Jackie. But Banda's good folk. Well, hopefully. We need to cooperate now, but also in the future. We need a mutual defense pact. As our new mercenary commander, please talk with Banda and Lemaire. Lemaire, God help us, especially we could use. The family's got the most ships and crew by far. But if she's a lost cause, Ben and I can muddle through.
Okay, so we're going to start off by talking to Jacqueline here. She's the hardest one to convince.
Just so you know, Albin is a con man and a thief. Associating with the likes of him reflects poorly on your character. Lucky you, then. So here's the deal. Odds are good my crew can hold out against the Spacers all by ourselves. If we're gonna band together, I have the most to contribute and the most to lose. The smart play for my interests is the Lemaire's hunker down and outlast the storm.
Okay, so here we have some options here. We can pay her off, or we can try and persuade her.
I may not be some sort of military expert, but you can't know that for certain.
And again, we need 6 bars here out of this. We do have an auto persuade as well.
That is a good point. Well, that's certainly true.
Okay, so here we have the 3 to get us there. It's an iffy chance. We do have our percentage increasers to help pass this. But we'll just kind of see how it goes. I don't think I'm going to use my auto persuade for this. I'm just going to try it and see what happens.
I hadn't considered the financial upside of it. Well, you might have a point. Fine. Let Albin know that I'm willing to try this defense pack for now.
Okay, so she's by far the hardest one to talk to.
Band together. Not only can we...
Hello, stranger. Your work in getting the satellites up? You've done us a good turn. I know it was paying work, but a lot of mercs wouldn't even take a list contract. You here to talk about the defense pack? I figured he might. I mean, I agree that right now coming together makes sense, but going forward, it's hard to imagine Jackie and Albin working together for the long haul without one winding up with a knife in the back. Not much of a choice, really. Well, the bandits will join the defense pack. We got one ship operational, another we can patch up. It's not much, but you'll have us when you need us.
Okay, so we convinced them both. Our Hippolyta is now worn off, but we're done with the convincing people.
So is the defense pact in business? Come on, don't keep me in suspense. You convinced Jackie? And now I do believe in miracles. How in the hell did you manage that? Wait, words can do that? Like I said, miracles never cease. So, the sensors have picked up 2 contact groups. Undoubtedly our spacer friends. We don't have many ships, but we can send them with you. Or hold them in reserves, your call.
Okay, so you can choose to do whichever of these you want. I'm just going to try and handle them by myself. Not too worried about it.
You are a wonder to behold. After you deal with the spacers, meet back on my farm. I've got an idea how to find where the spacers are based.
Okay, so again, we're in for some more spacer combat here. We need to exit her ship first.
Got herself some cargo.
And this is why I said I could handle it myself, because with these low levels with the ship that we have, it's not really much of a problem. But if you are doing this at regular level, then yes, things can, like I say, they can get a little sporty. We outrange their main weapons by quite a bit. Their smaller weapons have the same range as ours, but we hit much harder at this range than they do.
Glad to hear you're back, safe and sound. Banda, you owe me 30 credits.
You're tougher than I thought.
Easy money. So while you were doing that, I used the communication satellites to triangulate some spacers' chatter.
You did what?
I'm more than just a pretty face. Anyway, there's an old derelict star station the spacers are using as a base. Couldn't say it better myself. There are undoubtedly a lot of spacers there, both ships and men on the station itself.
We need to excise this cancer from our system. Every last one of them.
100% agree. So, oh glorious leader, any words of wisdom or inspiration before we embark? This is it. The big one. We need to bring everything we got to bear. There won't be any do-overs on this one. We'll all be waiting for you to jump in.
Okay, so one last set of space combat here. And then we're going to be boarding this star station. There's an important piece here that I'll mention once we get to that.
Destroy him!
Okay, he was boosting, I think.
Whoever takes her out!
You'll be nothing but debris when we're done here.
Look alive! Spacer's got reinforcements. More contacts.
So this is what I mean by it can get a little sporty. If you're level 10 or level 15 when you're doing this, this combat is extended and you don't have time to land and repair your ship in between it. So you really have to watch your repairs down in the bottom right and make sure that you're initiating your repairs
Sky's clean.
whenever you need them.
Start boarding the star station. It's time to...
So now we're going to land here at the star station. And while you're going through this, you want to be on the lookout for something, because if you do not get it now, you will not be able to pick it up later, because this star station is not going to be landable again. The POI for it will just disappear off the map, and you will not be able to get it anymore. So there's not very many skill magazines in the game where you are absolutely required to pick it up during a mission, but this is one of them. Okay, so most of these aren't going to have a whole lot because they are, again, lower level. And this is what I was talking about while we were in the section where we were farming the legendaries, is that most of these enemies here are fairly low level for us. So you're not going to find the best gear off of them. I'm not going to need persuasion anymore, so make sure my operative suit's back on. Nothing really there. Space Adept, Ripshank again, more melee that I don't really need. I threw that above me. I was like, where did that grenade come from? Okay, these 3 remaining ones are normally in this back corridor over here. Sometimes they'll come out, sometimes they won't. Okay, now here's another spacer captain that's high level. So again, if you want, you can try and farm him. By knowing where he's at and concentrating on trying to kill the others first. Okay. Now we've got one left. He's down there on the lower level. This guy has a negotiator. He's got a grenade launcher. Maybe this guy will come up here and we can finish him off. Yes, we can. Okay, so now it's just him. So again, if you're going to farm him, drop a save. Drop a full save. And then go for body shots to remove his armor. And then hope you get a cripple. Yeah, I don't think we're probably going to get one here. No. So the last time we got fairly lucky on the cripples. I just want to try and illustrate again how you get them. Sometimes they pop up really early and sometimes they don't.
You're not taking me out.
And again, I'm gonna not use my scope so I can avoid the Hitman 15% damage. So again, it just kills him. So, but that's, again, we've talked about that before, how to go about trying to farm them. But the ending enemies on all of these missions, even the low-level ones, are going to be high-level enemies that are leveled based upon you. So going through these side quests and finishing them up and getting to the final enemy in it, you're always going to have a chance to farm something. So just keep that in mind as you're going through this. Now, what I was talking about here, and here's your final ending crate. Again, Coachman's not really all that great, but I'll take the credits. Space Truckers, again, a low tier of armor, so nothing I'm worried about. So while you're here in this room is Grunt issue number 8. Now, Grunt issue number 8 is ballistic weapons permanently do 5% more critical damage. This can synergize really well with some of your other skills, like sharpshooting, where you're increasing critical damage and critical hit chance to get those. So this can help synergize with those really, really well. But if you do not pick this up while you're here, like I say, you're not going to be able to get it again. So make sure, and I think out of all the skill magazines, trying to remember. There's either 4 or 5, and there's 150 of them or something like that. I mean, there's a huge amount of them. Only like 4 or 5 are in missions where you're not able to come back to that location to get them. It may be hard to make your way back to a location where one is sitting, but you can do it. There are very few of them that you need to. There are a lot of guides out there on the internet that explain where they're all at, and if they're inside a mission, to help you, alert you to it while you're going through the mission. A lot of those guides, I will say, tell you that you have to pick it up inside the mission, even though you really don't. So there's very, very few of these that you really actually have to do this. But pay attention to it so that you can pick up that skill bonus. There's also a stolen safe key in here. And if you make your way around, we also have a terminal here, which will explain to you what's been happening up here, and that they hijacked a Galbank transport ship. Okay, the safe stays in the storage area downstairs. And we'll just pick up any... Well, there's another Hippolyta to replace the one we had. Now, down here in this room is your final item quest reward area. So you're going to have a weapon over here, an advanced breach. I don't normally use breaches. I don't like the shotguns very much. But here you have stolen safes that are on this wall. And these normally have a lot of credits in them. Okay, so this one here, and, you know, actually that's a good point. I haven't tested this, but I can test it real quick because we were really close to the end. So bear with me and we'll test this real quick. I'm interested to see if that safe spawns its items when you open it, or if they're predetermined. So that was an explosive advanced... Oh, and look at him. He fell. So once they fall, this one looks... Yeah, see, they start crawling away. So you want to drop a permanent save, because you're going to need to get in... Oh, he popped up. That is fairly rare that happens. But it is always an option that they can pop up. There's also a Superior Bounty Hunter space helmet. I can give this to one of my companions. And again, it's one of the best... It is the best tier of armor you can get. So we're going to remember to pick up Grunt again. We're going to pick up the stolen save key, and we're going to head down here, and we're going to drop a save, a quick save, before we open that one. So that's the same as previous. That's the same as previous. So I'm guessing that this one is going to be already determined, but we'll check. Yeah, it's the same thing. So a lot of times your crates and stuff like that have predetermined loot that is spawned in as soon as you spawn into the instance. The Mantis armor being one of those rare exceptions and that sort of stuff. But sometimes you will find these crates that they determine the loot as soon as you open it. And if that's the case, then you have the opportunity to sometimes just sit here and reopen it and spawn legendary weapons if you're high enough level to get it. So kind of keep that in mind. And I don't think I need the Synapse Alpha on this account. I think I've got all of my research projects done. Okay, so you end up with something close to 18,000 credits out of the stolen safes down here. So don't forget to come look at them. Looks like I have a legendary mag shot. So the mag shot is a good pistol. I'm not going to say it's bad because it has high damage. To go, oh, this one's actually really good. It's got high initial damage. 186 is one of the highest that you can get on a pistol. It's anti-personnel, which is great. Plus 10% damage against human targets. Staggering, so occasionally, and I think the number here is 10%, you will stagger an enemy, so they will get knocked back and stop shooting at you while they try and recover. And then it's got Elemental, which randomly deals one of the 4 damage over time types. So this is actually a really good pistol to replace the Memento Mori that I have. The only real downside to this is the mag size. If you're going to be using a pistol, you're going to be using it at short range anyway, so the range is not a big deal. The mag size is just horrible. So you end up spending a lot of time reloading this weapon, and that's where the problem comes in, is that your sustained damage over time using it is just not that great, because in the time it takes you to empty the mag, that's the same amount of time it takes you to reload it. So your DPS is basically cut in half with it. But you are doing a lot of damage up front. So I tend not to use them. But for right now, it is probably the best pistol that I have in my inventory. So I'm going to keep it for now.
This is the first deep breath I've taken in months. I make no illusions. You did this. And now it's up to us to keep it going. Very diplomatic. It's horseshit, of course. But it sounded nice. The rest of the families and I, well, we chipped in for a reward. I know it's probably a pittance compared to what someone like you makes. We're just dirt poor farmers and miners just trying to get by. I think I need to shut up now. Don't want to get... Don't you dare! I have my precious reputation to maintain. If you ever are in this system, you come back and visit. We'll give you a warm welcome for the ages.
Alright, so there you finished up Failure to Communicate. It's a pretty cool little quest, especially, and can be very useful to help advance your piloting skill, where you have to kill ships to advance this skill. Now, we talked about last live stream another easy way to do it, which is inside the simulator, the UC Vigilant, or the UC Vanguard ship simulator. But this is another, you battle somewhere in the range of 20 different ships here, so it can increase one of your ranks completely while you're doing it. So if you haven't gone through the simulator, then this is another way to help increase your piloting skill. Now, one thing that we're going to do with the last 30 minutes here is we talked about our weapons a little bit. The Beowulf, and looks like we've got our rendering bug there on those. Yep, here we go. So the Beowulf is a Combatech weapon. Okay, the hard target is also a Combatech weapon. We have a way to increase the range and accuracy of both of these weapons utilizing skill books. And the Combatech skill books, there are 5 of them, and they are all relatively easy to get. And we're going to spend the last 30 minutes going through and getting those. And the first one is on Neon here.
space? Please hold your current speed and heading while we scan you for contraband. That's all we need. Enjoy Neon.
Okay, so the first one here is the hardest one to get. We're going to turn off our quest marker here.
That side's a bad place for tourists these days.
And we've been here before.
Got my hands full right now.
To the Seokguh hideout. Now we entered this, we must have entered this through the vent. Upstairs.
And it wasn't even Dickens.
Trying to remember if we went in through upstairs or not. I think we probably did.
I have a friend who cooks some weird alien.
And this is another one of those that you can get during the mission itself. But if you don't get it during the mission, then you can come back and get it later. Okay, I think this works. Nope, it doesn't. That and that. That and that. Whoops, that went back out. It was dark. I didn't see the exit. Oh, we didn't come in here because we came in with the blessing of the guy in charge here, so we were able to just walk our way in. Okay. So down here again, you can get ready for a fight. If you get found out, you can just fight your way out of it. It's not that big a deal. But we went through this while we walked our way through here. But you can sneak your way around here. Make it up here onto the stairs. You do not want to go through that hallway. Once you're up here, you do not want to go up those stairs. Sometimes you have to wait for this syndicate member to take a seat at the table. But once they do, then these two will be sitting here and you're fine to walk past them.
Sick of these shitty orders.
And once you get here, stay to the right to avoid this one. And once you get up here, you want to watch for the one that's leaning against this piece here. And you want to wait for them to head around the far side. and then you want to duck down this hallway here. Okay, let's go, buddy. Normally doesn't take this long. I wonder if he's stuck. I can use my manipulation skill. Okay, and now he will just walk past me. And I can make my way into here. Okay, how about you go over there? Thank you. And in one of these two rooms, I can never remember which one it is. It's this one here. You can drop a save here, because sometimes picking this up will get you seen. The skill book is right there. Combatech Catalog 01. Okay, and then going to do my Sense Star stuff. And again, you're watching him. He's going to walk around this way. You go to the left. And you can retrace your steps to get out. So this is one that, remember, we were here during the during one of the Ryujin missions. So you can pick it up while you're in that mission, or you can come back and get it afterward. This one is not one that you have to pick up while you're in here. And once you're around back behind this last one, you can just exit out through the refrigerator again, or through the refrigerator, and you're good. Okay, and now we can just open the door here. And now we have access to the Seokguh Syndicate whenever we want. We don't have to worry about pickpocketing the key from Frankie. So that's number one. So now all of our weapons went up. So actually I can't remember what these numbers, I was going to make a point of writing them down before I did. But I think this was like 136 and 83 or something like that on the accuracy. I'm not entirely sure. But these improve the range and accuracy of your Combatech weapons. So we know what these are right now. And 84.4. And the Beowulf at 57 and 88.9. And we'll remember that as we go pick up some of the others. So our next one here is really easy to get. We need to go to the UC Vigilance. Now, depending upon where you are in the Crimson Fleet quest line, this could either be around Phobos or it can be at the key. And here with us, it's at the key. Whoops, I don't want to land at the key. I want to land at the UC Vigilance, which is right next to it. That's my mistake. Okay, so now it's just a matter of finding it. There it is. Oh, come on. Okay, now here I think I remember this one, where this one is. I think it's in the main control room. I may have to wander for a second to get this. It's been a while since I picked these up. But I think it's in the main control room off to the side.
Hero.
So we'll head up here, and I think it's
That shield
in
upgrade we got on the Vigilance made a big deal.
a room over here. Yep, there it is. Okay, so we know what these were. It says further increases the range and accuracy of Combatech weapons. So we'll pick that up. Go to our inventory and look at it. So our range on the Beowulf was 57. It's now 60. It was 88.9 accuracy, and it's 89.1. So as we get higher here, the percentage increases that go along with these are going to be a lot smaller, so your accuracy isn't going to be going up as much. But we did add from 57 to 60, so that is 3, that's another 5%, give or take, on the range. So I think that's kind of where we're sitting at with these. So this was 143 and it's now 150. So we added 7. So yes, it's 5% increase for both of those. The accuracy, again, isn't going to get that that bonus very much because we're already at a really high percentage. So 5% of 84%. We get a really small increase on these. So this was 84.4, it's now 84.5. So the next one of these, I believe, is in Hopetown, which is in Narian, right? I think. Yes, Hopetown's right here. Now, Hopetown, it might be still bugged for us because of how we played the Hope Tech mission. I think a couple of the guards are still probably bugged for us, but fortunately we don't have to go in to Hope Tech this time. However, you still can get some security that gets upset with you here in Best Defense. So this one is on a shelf in here, right? Yes. So here's number 3. So again, from 60 to 63. And again, from 150 to 157. So again, we're adding that 5% additional for each one of these. So that's a 25% bonus on these. Now, this one, this is a good question. What is... Whoops. Let me look at my completed missions here real quick. Okay, so we haven't done this one. So I don't know if this POI is going to be available to us. But we'll go check real quick. It's on Gagarin. Okay, so it's not available to us. We need to talk to Barrett to get one of his quests to be able to open up the mine POI that this thing is at. So number 4 we're not going to be able to get. Number 5 is going to be in a random location. And this POI is a very specific icon. So when you zoom in on a planet that has a POI, you can see the icon over here. That's a science icon. The specific icon that you're looking for is going to look like a skull. It's going to look like the Punisher symbol. And that's a military one. And it's for the Forgotten Mech Graveyard. Now, I believe we've run into one of these previously, because I believe we had to do a mission at one of them. So I'm going to spend a second here just looking for it. And again, I can see these icons. Depending upon what resolution you're watching this at, you might not be able to see the icons well enough to know. But as soon as I find it here, we'll go through it. Since I haven't explored very far out there, it should be in one of these fairly close systems. But if we can't find it, then really quickly here before the end of the stream, then what we'll do is I'll research it offline and find it. And we'll be ready to finish collecting it along with talking to Barrett at the beginning of our next live stream. Don't think it's probably up here, but we'll look anyway. Okay, most of these systems out here on the fringe don't normally have a lot of stuff in them. Yeah, see, none of these planets have generated POIs. Okay, haven't been to Ada Cassiopeia yet. Haven't been to Alpha Andraste or Beta Andraste. Haven't been to Vega. So only the highlighted ones are ones that you've explored or you visited. The white icons on your map are ones that are within range of your ship, that you've explored the route to. Like these, you can jump straight to it. The red ones, you have not explored the route to it yet, so you have to jump through other systems first. And the highlighted ones are ones that you've already been to and explored. Okay, so we'll just check a few more of these here. Don't see the icon yet. Because it was, we actually might have another way to find it. It was part of the UC Vanguard quest. Where we went to find the robot on the surface. Okay, so it was after this one. It was here. It's Kaiser. Okay. So Does it give me a site? It doesn't. It doesn't let me know where this was. Oh, yes it does. Search for Kaiser on Nira. Actually... no, that was in the scrapyard. That was not the abandoned mech graveyard. I can't remember off the top of my head what mission we were at the abandoned mech graveyard, but that is, or for the forgotten mech graveyard, but that is the POI that you're looking for. And like I say, when you find it, it looks like the Punisher symbol. It looks like a skull on the surface is the icon that you're looking for. And once you get there, it's fairly easy to get into where it's out. There's just a small hideout up at the top. That when you get there, you just kill the 3 enemies that are around it, and you'll be able to pick up the magazine. So I think what we're going to do is I'll search for that off stream, and I'll write it down, and we will also get ready to talk to Barrett to advance his personal quest to get to the breach of contract mission, which I believe is what I need to unlock the abandoned mine on Gagarin, so that we can pick up that last Combatech. One thing that we will do is I don't think we picked up is it in Hawking? Trying to remember where Vladimir's house is, because that would be one that we could do real quick. Before the end, I just can't remember where his house is off the top of my head. Actually, I think I do remember where's Surma. There it is. I think it's here. Yes, here's Vlad's house. Because there was a Kryx magazine that we didn't find while we were picking up all of those. And that last one is here. Okay, so at Vlad's house, and I honestly can't remember if we've picked this one up already or not. We'll see if we did. Okay, so we haven't been to Vlad's Villa before, so we haven't picked this up. And it's been a while since I've been here, but I think it's in the basement. Now, out here at Vlad's Villa, you can find his slates. And we'll listen to these in the background as we go.
Hauling
You can learn more about his history.
Food and other goods meant for homes. Fine test for a rook back then. Nothing like feeling the key's belly to earn nods from the old knives. Went knuckle to bone with the freighter's crew straight away. Thought I was just eager to show myself off. Make sure my crew knew I was dangerous, even unarmed. Looking back, think I just wanted to know that I was taking the prize the fair one's way. Give them a chance to fight for it. But even telling yourself you're winning it from someone is a break on a dark road. Every take was a smile on my face, knowing that I was better, stronger. And quiet moments to feel guilt's reflection were easily shattered when you know the UC is always hunting you.
Okay, so Vladimir was a pirate with the Crimson Fleet.
My career in the fleet took a turn as the UC stepped up its efforts. Not the first or last time they tried to wash the bloody tab. Caught a smile being with the crew whose captain took the challenge to play smart. If every breach and storm was a fight to the death, might as well make it for the highest stakes. And why not take the time to learn all the locks and bolts? Crack the systems that held the treasures? Learn the routes between stars that would become the best places to go. I never read so many books in my days as when I was gearing the brain for a heist. Soon enough, I found myself just reading whenever time's moments could spare. When my former captain died, I knew my days with the fleet were marching to the cliff's end. I was already considered an old jack-o'-bones, scaring the new rooks on the fact that I was still alive. Grimm's laughing reminder that most of them wouldn't make it to my age. Tossing my youth away on gutting haulers for the fleet was one thing, but watching another generation doing the same, knowing where the end was for them, my mind started clocking hours on the point of it all. And that's when the beauty of the Blackest Sea started to catch me for the first time. Humanity's jaunt into the stars could use a friendlier meeting than gun and blade. And who could do better good out there than someone who had seen the darkest edges and lived to tip your ear to the tale?
So you can see he's starting to have, he's starting to have a change of heart about everything and trying to come around to how he's now going to join Constellation.
Made too many promises to shine light on the details, but I cashed out from the fleet. Bought an old hauler and converted it into a flying traveler's inn. Even named it the Jolly Roger as a bit of history's chuckle. We sputtered around the settled systems as best we could, helping the helpless. A safe harbor for anyone who needed it. Eventually, retired from that as well. Had too much of the past, still needed burying. Didn't stop Sarah Morgan from finding me though. In her hunt for one of the historical relics I stole from the UC. Been a part of Constellation ever since. A third life in the making, and one with a mission worth the toil.
Okay, so this lock is fairly complicated. It's 4 and 3. This is 7 for this one. It doesn't fit there. So the only other 4 is this one. So it's going to have to be that. And this one. Then this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So again, 4 and 3. So wherever this one fits. And then this one. Okay, now this is Vlad's final office. Don't forget to pick up the Mutineer here. This is a unique pistol just for him. Bunch of ammo down here that you can pick up. There's also the last Kryx Journal entry here. So basic and advanced social skills are permanently unlocked 2% faster on top of any other bonus. So that means that in your skill tree here, basic and advanced are unlocked 2% faster as you go through them. So if you're really focusing on talking your way out of things and that sort of stuff, then these skills are now going to advance faster because of it. So when I can't remember if there's a slate number 5 down here or not. So an advanced pacifier, don't need any of the mines or anything like that. I thought that there was one more slate. Let me just look real quick and then we will call an end to the stream. Watch, I'm going to end the stream and then I'm going to remember right where it, right where it was. There is an advanced pirate assault. The pirate assault is tier 2. It's one level below the level that I'm at right now. So again, not worth picking up. And I thought it was just laying down somewhere. I didn't think it was obvious, but I'll drop a save here and we will find the ending to Vladimir's story if there is another slate down here. But we did pick up the last of the Kryx Journal entries, and then off stream I will find us a Forgotten Met Graveyard to pick up the 4th of the Combatech magazines, and we will get ready to progress Barrett's storyline a little bit next week to be able to open up the opportunity to pick up the 5th and last Combatech magazine as well. So I think that gets us a good spot to end the stream. And again, I'm sorry for starting 30 minutes late tonight. I apologize for being late. Like I say, work kind of intruded on things. But thank you all for being here with me tonight. As always, without your support, none of this would be possible. So this is Commander Jorval saying until next time, fare thee well.